I won't take credit for that. I didn't come up with that. Saw someone on the internet say that, but yeah.
So this is Ilya Dragunov debuting in AEW. And let me just say, first and foremost, true. Secondly, whoever did this, shame on you. Shame on you for besmirching the good name of Buzz Lightyear. Okay? Buzz Lightyear is a cultural icon. Okay? And an American hero. Welcome to the Lariat Lounge. This is the home of smart takes, hard hits, and real talk. I'm your host, Everson Godfrey, co-host Andrew Skeens. Skeener, Lyra Valkyria is doing the best character work in WWE. It's seamless. I love every time I see her on the screen. And Solo said, nah, bruh, I am not down with rejoining the family. And I think Jacob Fatu is fitting to get his comeuppance real soon for standing behind and not letting, and not intervening on the Tribal Chief's behalf. We're going to get into all of that in this week's episode of the Lariat Lounge. This is home of smart takes, hard hits, and real talk. So we're going to talk about it. But before we get into any of that, Skeener, how you doing this week, bro?
I'm doing okay. Junior camp, kids, young children all week, every day has worn your boy out. So happy to make it to Friday.
Hey, listen, you got the weekend coming up. The little kids are gone, and the teenage kids are on the way. So hey, you got a schedule, bro.
Yeah. We're yeah. I wish I could say we weren't doing junior clinics tomorrow, but it's only in the morning.
Oh, dang,
so
y'all do got that.
I made it to Saturday, but yeah, still got to make it through Saturday morning.
Yeah, and you're going to have to hang out on Sunday to check out. No, that's not this week, is it? Sunday Night Main Event? That's next week. We got a little bit of breathing room here. But hey, listen.
Oh, no, that's not for a couple weeks. It's not next Sunday, it's Sunday after next.
We got some building to do. Oh, well, that changes something I was thinking. We'll get into all that. But before we do, Skeener, please let everyone know where they can catch all things Lariat Lounge in this refined, awesome glory that we're in today.
You can catch the Lariat Lounge on YouTube. That's the home of the Lariat Lounge. All our content, all the shows, all the PLE live streams, everything we do, you'll catch us on YouTube. Just go to YouTube, search the Lariat Lounge, and you will find us. The episodes, every episode we do still goes up in audio format on all your favorite podcast platforms. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever else you get your shows, you will find the Lariat Lounge. Please give us a follow on Instagram at the Lariat Lounge Podcast. Interact with us there. DMs are open. Give us a follow so you know whenever the lounge is going live. We've got merch over at Pro Wrestling Tees. Please go support us. 10 awesome designs you can check out over there. ProWrestlingTees.com. Search up the Lariat Lounge. Find what you like. Order great shirts over there. And as always, feel free to send us an email at thelariatlounge@gmail.com.
Listen, guys, we are always happy to talk wrestling with you all. We're always happy to hang out with you all. Thanks to one of my coworkers who bought a t-shirt at the end of the month. You're going to be an executive producer. So congratulations in advance. That's an honor. But without further ado, folks, we appreciate you all. Please leave us a like rating wherever it is that you listen. And if you're watching on YouTube, leave us a like. Don't leave us a dislike. I can read them all now. But anyway, enough with the fluff. Let's get to the stuff. So, Skeener, let's start on SmackDown. The opening to SmackDown last week, I thought they were going to do something like this with Nick Aldis and Chelsea Green and the WWE Women's Championship. I like the fact that at no point were they legitimately trying to fake the crowd out into thinking that they were going to take the title off of Chelsea. But they did tell that story, right? They did tell that story of you're going to need to relinquish the title. And Chelsea she used all of the history that she's had with the WWE in and out of the ring, both her injuries, the being released from the company, coming back to the company, and all in the pursuit of reaching this final goal, only to get it. And as she stated, if I didn't have bad luck, I wouldn't have any luck at all. And she played to Nick Aldis and the ability for one to live their dream. And she invoked SummerSlam. It was the night that both of them got to live a dream. And Nick Aldis says to her, the general manager in me needs you to relinquish the championship. But the man, Nick Aldis, wants you to keep it. So the man wins out. I'm not going to do my job. I'm not going to do what they paid me for. And I'm going to let you keep a championship that you probably should be relinquishing because you're not going to be able to defend it actively. But he did tell her, you've got what, 30 days? Is that what he gave her? 30 days to
30 days to get healthy and defend the title.
And so I'm assuming Chelsea is probably going to take a maximum of 29 and a half days away from the ring to heal up as best possible, get herself a Rhea Ripley dashing Cody Rhodes, undashing Cody Rhodes mask, and get back into some sort of in-ring competition so she can hold on to that title. So I'll give you kudos here. You definitely said that they were not going to take that title off of Chelsea.
No
and
chance.
My thought was it's possible.
Well, you did. You posited an idea that they had a little different way to get to something you talked about that we'll talk about that happened on SmackDown. So you weren't completely off, but yeah, they were never going to strip Chelsea of the title. Not for this.
No, and you know, looking at it. Oh, okay. I almost forgot what you were talking about, but now I'm scrolling down on SmackDown and I see exactly what it is you're talking about. Yeah, I guess we did kind of get to one of these goals.
Yeah,
we just didn't get to it the way you thought. We thought.
Yeah, they were never. Yeah, I didn't think Chelsea was ever in danger of having it stripped unless, like, she just had a. Not that it's not serious, but like kind of in wrestling injury terms, for an injury like a broken orbital bone, when they'd already, just crowned her as interim and then permanent champion, and yeah, they weren't gonna mess with taking it off, especially if she could be on TV and do work in the meantime. So
Yeah.
I'm glad they used that emotion and that fear to make a great segment. Chelsea comes out, cuts an unbelievable promo that the crowd gets behind. You can really tell that crowd, as well as all of us, really love us some Chelsea Green
Absolutely.
right now. The company knows that, and that's great. And we get a great segment because we get some great heel work from Gunther too, which I love. And if ever, I forget where he said it, but Matt Cardona said he felt as close to that WWE title and then being a Grand Slam champion as ever. And yeah, I don't know about that, brother, because Gunther came out, talked shit to you and your girl, and beat your ass in street clothes. So
Hey, listen, way to stand up for your wife.
He got a deep 2 count, though. I will say that. Could have
True.
gone worse. Yeah, Gunther said he could call Chelsea every slur in the book in front of him, and he wouldn't do a damn thing.
Well, I mean, listen, he proved that point wrong because he did step up and defend his wife. However, there was no way that Gunther was going to take a beating from Matt Cardona, which, listen, I am not going to sit here and pretend like I am a huge fan of Matt Cardona. I am not going to pretend like I thought that this was going to go differently. There's no part of me that thought that this was going to go differently. However, sometimes I will say, Skeener, I think it does kind of suck that you bring someone back only to then throw them into the mid card. I'm not saying everybody needs to be champion, but at the same time, it seems clear sometimes that WWE does not either recognize what makes some people work when they're away from WWE, or they just don't see it. Like they see it, but they don't see what the appeal is. And so they don't lean into it at all. And, listen, if you watch...
I mean, if we're talking about Cardona, I think what made him work when he was away from WWE is that he was a WWE mid-carder on the indies. You're going from the major leagues to the minor leagues. Sorry if that offends anyone, but you're going to be better than everyone else. Like, a guy like that stands out on the indies. Like, great shape, huge dude, has presence, can cut a promo, can work. He's one of the best in the world. Just because he's not on the top of the top doesn't mean he's not good. This is the old, the guy at the end of the bench in the NBA is much closer to LeBron than you are to him.
I get it. I get the big fish, small pond, you know what I'm saying, analogy there. But what I'm saying though is, has WWE given him a chance to show any level of genuine improvement in any abilities that he's had since he left WWE? There are plenty of people who leave WWE as mid-carders and do dick. They do nothing, right?
Mm-hmm.
I can say at least that Matt Cardona had his name ringing some bells outside of WWE, and people could hear it, and they weren't checking for the indies. I'm not saying they were hearing like, oh, Matt Cardona is that dude that WWE never really, you know what I'm saying, heard anything about. But I think when Cody was away from WWE, I think I heard just as much about Cody Rhodes when he was away from WWE that I heard about Matt Cardona when he was away from WWE. Now, Cody takes on a whole different light when you introduce the AEW aspect of things, right? When you introduce him helping to start a rival company. That, to me, if I'm being honest, was probably the point when a lot of people who weren't checking for Cody when he left WWE started checking for him again. Because they certainly weren't checking for him when he was on the indies. They certainly really weren't checking for him when he was in New Japan, right? But when he started something rival to WWE, it's when they started checking for him again. Now, the point I'm trying to make is not that I think they should put Matt Cardona in a push. I'm just saying that it's always been weird to me that you bring someone back into the company and you don't put them in a position to attempt to do anything really on any reasonable level, right? He hasn't been relevant at all in the US title picture, in the IC title picture. The dude barely wrestles. You know what I'm saying? And look, I'll say this and then we can move on from Matt Cardona. I think WWE did a disservice to him by bringing him back initially as Zack Ryder. I think they did him a disservice. I think you missed the opportunity to truly capitalize on the ability to reintroduce someone for the first time. You don't get that opportunity too often, right? First impressions are usually locked in stone, except in professional wrestling, because you can go away for a while.
Put him in that Lord Tensai mask.
Say that one more time.
Put him in that Lord Tensai mask.
Oh, don't do that. Don't do that. They didn't have to. They didn't have to. I think if they had brought him back as Matt Cardona with his new theme music when he first came back, and what was that? He was in a tournament, right?
I don't even remember, but yeah,
it was a tournament. He had tournament loss, but he showed up as a surprise entrant in this tournament because they had a few different surprises.
Was that the U.S. title tournament or something?
Might
or
have been.
Maybe
it might have been something like that. But they brought him back, and he was a surprise entrant. They could have brought him back with his new music. You get that return pop one time for most wrestlers, right? Two or more if you are really something special. So for Matt Cardona, listen, I'm not fooling myself into thinking he was really something special. He was mid-carder when he left, right? But when he came back, you had that opportunity. And I feel like WWE kind of fumbled that for him. Not that that would have changed a ton. I don't know. I can't read into timelines that don't exist. But what I am saying is that if you wanted to give somebody the best foot to kind of step on when they come back in, that won't it. And I think WWE owes him one for that. If not, just put him in some mid-card thing where he can do something. But
he did. He got on TV.
What?
I'm glad WWE brought him back to appease his superstar wife that we all know and love, and to throw her a bone.
Listen, Chelsea ain't need it. If I'm being fair, no disrespect, Mr. Cardona, but she ain't need it. She was doing just fine without
No, she didn't need it, but that's a favor they can do for their best and brightest. Hey, you can have your husband at work. That is the utility I get from Matt Cardona on my TV screen is that I know Chelsea Green is in the back happy.
Well, you know what? I will say this. CM Punk did say in the Unreal trailer for this new season, which I have not even begun to watch yet, that everything's better when he's working with his wife backstage, which, that didn't last long. But
they have a little Chelsea and Matt segment.
Oh, do they really?
Yes.
Oh, well, listen, hey, maybe there is something to this, Matt. You got yourself on a WWE documentary for the first and probably last time. But listen, great opening segment. And listen,
and honestly, the match was pretty good. It was not as squashy as it could have been. So, good. Cardona gets a showcase every once in a while, so maybe this does lead to something more. Probably not, but like we'll see. All joking aside, I do get what you're saying. I just think they brought him back in with a plan for him to be in a certain role, and that's where he is.
Listen, you're probably right.
If they're doing more live events, I've always said this. Someone's got to take the pins on live events, brother.
Yeah, listen, I recently watched a couple episodes of Main Event.
Yeah,
just to kind of see, because you go up there on YouTube and I see people wrestling that I never get to actually see wrestle, and so I've been checking out a couple
he
episodes
just go out there
of
and
Main Event.
stretch his legs before 8 p.m. Eastern.
I mean,
he just do a little run around.
Very
in the
true.
ring.
Very true. So listen, right from someone who I believe should be inserted in the U.S. title picture, because you get some good fleshing out there. Let's jump into the men's and women's U.S. title picture with let's see, why is her name Tiffany Stratton coming out to defend her friend's honor as the Irresistible Forces attempt to beat down Chelsea after Gunther.
Mm-hmm.
And she comes out there, she's starting to fight them off, and this prompts a match later on. Oh no, how do we get to the Fatal Influence match? Was that already scheduled for this card?
Last week, yes.
Okay, so this was totally unrelated.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, but Tiffany did fail to save Chelsea from Nia and Lash. So Chelsea still has a looming Nia Jax problem, and Tiffany is caught in two minds, and we'll get to it obviously after we talk about this. But yeah, Tiffany had a date later anyways, defending her title against JC Jane. She did.
And so let's hang around this orbit here of the U.S. title picture, because we have a match between Baron Corbin and Carmelo Hayes, where Baron Corbin again cheats to win and remains the U.S. champion with the furry belt still. I would have thought he would have gotten rid of that thing by now. But I mean, holy smokes. If I was Baron Corbin coming back to the company, and listen, I am putting my finger right on the pulse of returning superstars right now, okay? If I was Baron Corbin, I would have insisted when I won that championship, right, that fur be removed. I need you to put the original strap back on that belt, because I don't care how tough you try to make yourself seem. If you're not Trick Williams.
Yeah, he looks funny. He looks not intimidating.
No, you hold that thing up with so much pride and it looks fucking ridiculous. It only looks cool if Trick has it. For you to have that belt still.
Because we thought they were moving him away, and he comes out after Corbin beats Carmelo Hayes in a good match, and Yachty gets his lick back. So, we'll see. We'll see whether or not he's going back for the belt. I kind of hope not, but we'll see. Maybe that was just them getting his lick back and introducing Yachty back into the fold, but we'll see tonight.
I honestly don't think that Carmelo Hayes is done with this. I think Carmelo is probably going to be the person to end up winning that U.S. championship and moving Trick away from this. We still got so Money in the Bank is in October.
Mm-hmm. 1st of October.
We still have to get through Sunday night's main event, and then we got to get through whatever PLE is in September.
I think that's it. I think that's all we have.
Okay, so we got Sunday night's main event, and then September is just a wash.
I believe so.
Okay,
yes.
So we got time, right? We got time. So my thought when I saw this was, I think they're going to keep Trick around this U.S. title feud with Baron Corbin. They're going to bring in Carmelo Hayes. I think Carmelo is going to be the one to end up beating Baron Corbin in a triple threat for the U.S. championship. I think Trick is going to go into Money in the Bank. I don't know. I'm not even going to speculate who's going to win Money in the Bank. But if he doesn't win, then this puts him in a prime position to go into a legitimate Carmelo and Trick feud, right? If he doesn't win. Mm-hmm. But I think they're probably just going to keep him around this picture to keep him heated, keep the burner on underneath him while we make our way to Money in the Bank. That's just my thought anyway. But
Yeah, see, I hope so, seemingly. It's just, I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, I think we both wanted Trick to move away from the U.S. title and on to bigger and better things, but seems like he may, at least for a couple weeks. I guess you're right. We've still got 6, maybe 7 shows before Money in the Bank, so he's got to be doing something.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Maybe we get a triple threat. Maybe we get something else. Who knows? But I mean, obviously we'll see more tonight. But we did have Trick coming back, and Lil Yachty is okay. He survived his less than stellar table bump.
Terrible table bump.
Yeah.
And not in terrible like oh my god, that hurt. Terrible like he doesn't weigh enough.
Yeah, he didn't break the table
to get through the table. He kind of cracked it and slid off.
Yeah.
That was enough to put him out of commission for a little while. But you listen, speaking of out of commission, I'm working on my segue game right now. Speaking of out of commission and U.S. title picture, let's step off of the card real quick and speak about Ilya Dragunov contract being up, and he's reportedly headed out of WWE.
Yes.
Listen, I can't say that I am weeping tears over this. I as a performer, I hope that he is able to leave WWE and go somewhere where he can do whatever it is that he wants to do. You know what I'm saying? For sure. But I saw a YouTube video just the other day where someone is saying, and I'm paraphrasing here, I can't believe how WWE just bungles talent. How do you have someone like Ilya Dragunov and you don't really use them, and now he's gone? To that I say, they did use him.
They did.
They did use him. They tried to use him. And listen, the fact of the matter is this. Some people, like Matt Cardona that we were talking about earlier, right? They don't really use them. They bring them in, they don't really use them. Some people, they bring in and they just don't land. We've talked about this many times before, Skeener. Sometimes the things that get over on NXT do not get over on the main roster. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. They just do not get over on the main roster. And Ilya Dragunov to me was one of those people that super intense. It's such a one-note character. Mm-hmm. It's such a one-note character. And it doesn't translate well. Those super intense characters, the super dark characters.
Yeah, you know he never did anything else aside from being super intense. So, yeah, I as well will not shed any tears for Russian Pete Dunne. So,
oh, Russian Pete Dunne.
Yeah, it's the same thing. Like, and Pete Dunne had to stop doing that. He had to put on a mask and be goofy. And guess what? He's having the most success of his career because of that.
Hey, listen, we cannot hate on freaking was it Ryo?
Yeah.
I think he's Ryo.
Yes.
So this is what Skeener just sent me. Skeener, you can't see it. But
I will yeah. I won't take credit for that. I didn't come up with that. Saw someone on the internet say that, but yeah.
So this is Ilya Dragunov debuting in AEW. And let me just say, first and foremost, true. Secondly, whoever did this, shame on you. Shame on you for besmirching the good name of Buzz Lightyear. Okay? Buzz Lightyear is a cultural icon, okay, and an American hero. And Ilya Dragunov ain't even American. I'm just kidding. But listen, this is funny because this is likely going to be meme to death. Ilya Dragunov debuting in AEW.
But we many a times asked for anything different from his character, and it just never happened.
Well, what can you do? Like, you have to display the ability to show range. You know what I'm saying? And it's like he never, ever did that. And we spoke about this before too, Skeener.
There'll be a great point to bring this back up when we get to Raw.
Yeah, let me jump over to Raw to make sure
I can already. Well, you may not even know where I'm going, but in terms of showing range in characters.
Oh, I don't. But we'll get there because I have a lot of great things to say about Raw. a lot of great things to say about Raw. But actually, you know what? What were we talking about Raw? What were you alluding to? Let's jump around. We ain't got to be regimented.
Well, we're talking about, look, he had this super intense, badass character and showing range. You can do that and still have moments of levity because on Raw, we have the badass of all badasses in Obafemi
Oh yeah.
take a moment and mock Braun Breaker and do a little Braun Breaker impression and almost get Braun Breaker to laugh.
By the way,
Like, you can do that stuff.
great impression, by the way.
Yeah.
I mean, that came out of him.
Was it that face?
Oh, yeah. Oh, dude. He did that impression, and I had to do a double take because I was like, wow.
Because it did, yeah, it's not the fact that he could change his voice that much was funny.
Wild. That is wild. And you can do that, like you stated, right? You can do that and not lose.
You have to. You
credibility.
Have to be able to do that if you want longevity in this business.
Oh, for sure. For sure. You have to be able to emote. You have to be able to do something different. You have to show some range. Because if you're one note, they can only play you one way. And you know what I mean? And that's super intense. But that super intensity is not going to convince people that as a superstar, the WWE machine is going to put you in a position to look like you can do a number on someone like Braun Breaker, right? So let's stick there because we're talking about Obafemi, right? There's no one currently on the WWE roster that I think does intensity better than Braun Breaker. But Braun Breaker in one segment shows you so many different facets of his range in one scene. He shows you that intensity, but then he also shows you sometimes a bit of levity. He shows you a bit of concern. He shows you some disdain. He shows you a bit of insecurity. He shows you a bit of goofiness sometimes. He does all of these things in one scene. It's like Ilya Dragunov, to me, is just like an open fire hose. You know what I'm saying? An open fire hose with pulsing veins. And it's like, I don't know, man. Like, it works for the NXT crowd because the NXT crowd is a very small community, comparatively speaking, to the worldwide global audience that the main roster has. And I think the NXT audience is oftentimes a bit more forgiving and they allow themselves to just be more a part of the wrestling program. You know what I'm saying? In the way that like a house show audience would. And it was so much more prominent, this whole idea, back when they were doing the show primarily out of the Performance Center. And it was just in Florida. Because you had that same crowd that was showing up week after week. And so you build a rapport with these wrestlers. You care about them. And then you come up to the main roster and you've got to now make this character translate to a bunch of people who don't view you regularly. And you know, I think some of that energy still permeates NXT. And so when these people come up, it's like, bro, you're going to have to show up and show out a little bit. Like, you're going to really have to do a little something extra. And I don't know. He just did not have it. Either you got to have an incredible character that is going to carry you everywhere, a la Trick Williams, or you got to have some range, some Obafemi range, some Braun Breaker range. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to either have one of those two things. And I think Ilya did not have that. And I'm going to tell you somebody else who's in this U.S. title picture who I hope, because I like them and I think WWE as an audience likes them, needs to be able to make sure they show a little bit more range in order to stay prominent. Carmelo Hayes. I like Melo, and I think the WWE universe likes Melo, and I think the people backstage like Melo. And it shows because they continue to put Melo in front of people, and he's a great performer. I think he's great on the microphone. I think he knows his character, but he's going to have to be put in a position to either show a little bit more dynamic diversity in his range, or he's going to have to implement it in what he's currently doing. Because I think that there's a runway for him too. And that runway is going to be ceilinged in the mid card if he can't show something to get him over that, proverbial hump. You feel me?
Yeah, for sure. I'm hoping this is that this Baron Corbin feud, and maybe if they involve Trick in it, it actually gives Carmelo a little bit more to play off of.
Yeah.
Because you've got the built-in history we've always talked about there. So we'll see. But I'm with you that, yeah, you need a little more. You just need a dynamic character to keep people entertained if you're going to be on the show once a week. At the end of the day, there's only so many ways you can slice. Like, we're going to wrestle in this wrestling ring and see who wins. So you better be able to make it entertaining outside of that.
Oh, absolutely. In a world of wrestling, you can't just wrestle.
No, not if you want high-level success in WWE.
Absolutely. 1,000% agree. 1,000% agree.
And there's a big segment on that in Unreal. You said you haven't watched it. Not a big segment, but there's a time when Triple H talks about, like, look, it's not the moves, because everyone can do the moves, and you see the same moves a lot. It's what's in between the moves, and can you make people want to watch you in between the moves?
Yeah, 1,000% agree. 1,000% agree. Hey, look, that's why that man wears that hat. I know some people don't like Triple H, but listen, I like Triple H, and I think that he's doing an incredible job. I think his psychology and understanding of the business shows in the quality of product that we have. And so, yeah, I think he's 1,000% correct there. It's what you do in between those moves that makes the difference. They can make something out of somebody who is decent with the moves and knows how to do all the things in between.
Moves really well.
Say that one more time.
And the moves are part of it. But yeah, a lot of people can do the same moves really well. But there are certain people you'll want to watch more do those same exact moves to those same exact people just because of the other stuff.
Absolutely. Absolutely. 1,000%. You listen, having a dynamic character is super important. Being able to work the mic, incredibly important. You need to be able to fill those gaps. Two people, Skeener, who can fill those gaps really well. But if I'm being honest, I personally have been a little disappointed. Okay. Say what?
I said you're still here because I was going to ask you if you were feeling any different after this week.
Are we talking about CM Punk and
that's what I figured?
KO? Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. No, I'm not. I am excited for the match. I am excited to see KO and Punk, but I think this week did not do anything to make me feel better about this feud. As a matter of fact, I think it just made me feel a little bit worse about it. And to preface this with the caveat, there are levels to this, right? There's tiers. This feud with these two opponents is on a very high tier. So if I'm not super high on this, I'm still excited about it. You feel me? Because of who's involved. But I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think that this is the intent of CM Punk. I don't think that this is the intent of WWE. But I think this is absolutely what's happening. I think this is exposing KO a little bit. I think this is exposing KO just a little bit with regards to his ability to truly work the microphone. I think he is very capable on the microphone, but I think this feud is really exposing the idea of levels. There's levels to how you apply someone being great on the microphone. And I think KO is great on the microphone. But I think that if I'm comparing him and CM Punk with regards to what do you do when the story that is handed to you gives you very thin margins for error and very thin lines to deliver. How do you handle it? I think KO, I think he did not land again this week for me. And I genuinely hope that because this match is happening on Sunday night's main event, which we've already established, is a couple of weeks from now.
No, this match is happening tonight.
Oh, it is happening tonight.
Hours from when we are recording right now on SmackDown in front of a packed house.
But brother, I don't believe that this is going to be the end of this for them.
No, I don't either.
I don't believe this is the end of this for them. And so, with that being said, I hope that whatever happens tonight is the catalyst for change with regards to what this story is offering. Because last week, I made it very clear.
Sami Zayn will get involved tonight.
I hope so. I genuinely hope so.
I can't see him not. So, that's happening. We're recording this on Friday. Punk and Owens will wrestle for the undisputed WWE title in Toronto in front of a big SmackDown crowd. I think I saw they've sold like 16,000 tickets or something
Yeah.
for a SmackDown in the couple weeks since this has been announced. So this is going to be a hot crowd because CM Punk always gives hot crowds, and they've got a Canadian in Kevin Owens, granted from not from Toronto, but from Quebec. Is he from Montreal, Kevin?
I
I know
think
he's from
he is
somewhere in
from
Canada. In
he's
Quebec.
from somewhere, but he's not from Montreal.
Is he not? I gotta look up where Kevin Owens is up now. But I will say that yeah, we have differed because I've thought I've liked these promos. Again, they've been a little different. Oh, it's Maryville,
Maryville, Quebec.
That's what it is. Now that I hear that, I mean, I like that they're playing on. I get it. It's the CM Punk thing. The nobody likes you, blah blah blah. But I think in this case, having the actual like documented history, kind of like with Roman, from years past, it does sell it a little bit for me because I don't know if these guys have kissed and made up yet or not, or if they truly don't like each other. I'm not saying that's going to lead to anything because these guys are pros and are going to work through it regardless. But I've liked the things. It's been a little. I don't know where. I like that they're not necessarily portraying CM Punk as the quote unquote pure babyface here because he is kind of being a dick. He's calling KO. He's calling KO a fat slob and all sorts of stuff, and they're kind of playing on that with their history and stuff. And I think he said he's gonna put Owens' fat ass to sleep, right? KO said I'm gonna beat your bitch ass, and Punk said I'm gonna put your fat ass to sleep.
Listen, all I'm gonna say is this: when your big moment to get the whole crowd like ooh is saying your bitch ass, I feel like your promo has been mid. Sorry.
The crowd liked it.
They did. They liked the bitch ass part. They did. But the crowd.
They liked the put your fat ass to sleep part.
Sure. Listen, these things are always going to get a pop. It's like going to Montreal and saying this crowd in Montreal, and the crowd goes crazy. The crowd's going to play their part. Like, unless you're really like tomato throwing worthy, the crowd and that unwritten contract, which honestly, by the way, I believe we coined on this show. I have never heard that anywhere else, but besides you and I talking about it, right? So I'm going to own that. Besides that unwritten contract that the crowd plays their part in when they shows happen, I think unless you really freaking shit the bed, the crowd's going to play their part. And so I think they're going to pop for that, right? But let's be real, dude. We've seen feuds between Roman and Punk where the promos were way better. We've seen feuds between Roman and Seth where the promos were way better. We saw promos between Punk and Seth where the promos were way better. What do I mean by that? The content of the promo, not the punchlines. The content of the promo had people hooked on the story. You're telling us a story. I am a story person, okay? I write stories all the time. One day I'm gonna publish a book, I promise. But like, I write stories all the time. And if there's one thing that sticks with me, it is the content development that happens when you read a great story. That content develops your interest. It hooks you there. The big moments should serve as crescendos for the awesome story that is being told. When that story is missing, right, you can hit the special effects moments, right? You can hit the big tentpole moments. And the crowd, if you hit them right, they're going to pop. Or if the crowd is conditioned well enough. So I think when you call somebody a bitch ass to sleep, put the bitch ass to sleep, or I put your fat ass to sleep, or whatever they said, yeah, you're going to get the crowd to pop because those are incendiary words. But aside from that, and I say this more towards KO in this situation, I feel like he reiterated multiple times the same points throughout the entire promo. And it just makes me feel like whatever this promo is built on, the depths of those things have not been fleshed out enough to walk me through plot points of the story. It's just the same thing repeated over and over again to build false tension to when you release that tension with the calling somebody a bitch ass. It doesn't land. And I think that there are some fans who will eat that shit up. But I think at the end of the day, that type of promo is not going to retain in anybody's memory once this feud is over. And I think that KO has been positioned to look like he can do better than that. And I hope he can. I hope that maybe with some more material, this will flesh out a bit better. But I will also say, I do think this is exposing him a little bit. And not as a bad worker or as a bad promo, but it's exposing the idea of levels, right? And there's levels to this. And I don't think he may be on the same level as Punk. I don't think he may be on the same level as Roman. I don't think he may be on the same level as Seth. Hell, I don't think he may be on the same level as Cody. And that's rarefied air. So I'm not throwing him off the mountain. But what I am saying is, I think this is telling a little bit. And honestly,
I think how well this works for you, it depends on how well and how receptive you are to the idea that there may be legitimate dislike between these two guys, and how well or how much you are willing to think that is an acceptable premise for an angle of this gravitas and momentum. And I get where you're coming from. Everything you said is 100% valid. I just find it interesting it's working on such different levels for both of us, where it's not really working for you, and I've kind of liked it. Because they, like I said, the thing for me is they are actually making me question whether or not there is still legitimate intense dislike there. And I think the understated nature of some of it has helped. Now, I completely understand and acknowledge where you're coming from, that the content has been nothing but, the same for the most part. There's been no new revelation, no new, stone to turn here. And hopefully we get that tonight, because I think you have to imagine Sami Zayn's going to get involved, right? Because later on in the show, we get Sami Zayn gets an opportunity gifted to him by Nick Aldis, who says, look, Sammy, if you quit, faking your little injury and go out there and beat Cody Rhodes, that you are the number one contender for the winner of Punk and KO. But as we see, Sammy never gets the chance to even have that match.
Nope.
Because Randy Orton comes out and does quite the number on Cody Rhodes.
Yeah, he does.
We get a long, 5-7 minute brawl to end the show, going all over the place.
Yep,
Randy sets Cody up sets him up like somewhat crucified in the steel stairs, leaning on the announce table, and is going to take the chair to him. But I think it was Daivari that jumped up there and grabbed the chair from him.
Somebody, yeah.
Yeah. So that was our big close to the show, and then, but as cool as that was, and yeah, that's a way with no words spoken to further Cody and Randy and keep that going. We get more ammo for Sammy to be like, hey, why do I keep getting screwed? Like, what is going on?
Right.
I get screwed. I finally win the title. I get screwed out of it. Then I have a match. You bring back my best friend who I thought was dead. Not really, but you get what I mean. You bring his best friend out of nowhere, and he has to sit in shock for 2 minutes there. That throws him off his game. Now he gets another number one contender, and Randy Orton shows up and ruins that. So I think that's great for the Sammy angle. We'll see where that goes tonight, because his grievances will be well received by a home country crowd for him.
Oh, for sure. For sure. And listen, I completely agree, right? I completely agree that a Sami Zayn infusion in this feud is only going to help it. And I genuinely hope it does, because it needs something. It genuinely needs something. I think on last week's SmackDown, I feel like the intersection between CM Punk and KO, Sami Zayn wanted to be introduced into this championship match as a triple threat if he beats Cody, but the match never happens because Randy and Cody start brawling before the match and it never happens. I feel like the Cody Randy portion of this whole thing made out way better than the KO Punk portion of this thing. And, I hope that the adding of Sami Zayn into this will add something to this feud. I hope it will add something to the Punk KO feud because, listen, I'm just not super hot on it right now. I'm interested to see how this match goes tonight because I think it's going to further the story. And I definitely think that they need to add something to it because Lord knows, bro, I feel like it needs something. It needs something. But listen, for the most part, unless I'm missing some stuff that happened on the side, which I'm sure I did because I have this screen zoomed in and I can't see the stuff on the side here. Let's see, SmackDown. What happens on the side? So Paige did a little backstage interview. Shinsuke did another one of his cryptic interviews. Let's see. Ricky Saints and Fraxium did some stuff that no one cares about right now.
I was going to say, I don't even remember that.
Let's see. Oh, Blake Monroe.
Well,
finally back.
Yeah, she is wrestling. Blake, Julia, you're welcome for us bringing this up last week.
You're welcome.
Gotcha, because you got your match tonight.
Yeah. Listen, all I need you to do, all Skeeter and I need you to do, buy a t-shirt. Like and subscribe.
Executive producer, Blake Monroe.
Become executive producer, Blake Monroe.
What did you think? So exactly what I figured would happen with Tatum and Alexa and Charlotte.
A backstage segment.
Kind of played that. Well, yeah, but there is the Tatum Paxley character for you.
Okay.
In one segment, and like I thought and like I wanted, they kept Charlotte as the straight woman here, playing off Alexa, doing that. She's worked really hard on this, so just be nice. And they open up that closet door, and Tatum has prepared what she said is their new locker room with no lights and just some candles and pictures of them plastered all over the walls.
And that locker room, ladies and gentlemen, is the size of a porta-john.
It's not very big.
No. I mean, one person changing in there would be pissed off. But you put 3 people in there, it's starting to ring inappropriate. And I like
when Alexa did the thing where she was like, isn't it nice? Just like I like that. I like this dynamic that Alexa, like, this is Alexa's weird friend that she knows is weird. She already knows how difficult it was to win over Charlotte. Now she's like, just be nice to her.
Yeah. I like it.
I think it makes for some entertainment.
I agree. 1,000%.
Sure.
I 1,000%. Listen.
And I've liked the Tatum Paxley character. I still think she's got one of the best themes that is out there. So,
with all the demons.
Yeah.
The
way it begins, the intro is so good.
I didn't get the song at first. Like I heard it, I understood it, but I didn't get it. And what I ended up having to do, Skeeter, I went on YouTube and I watched an evolution of Tatum Paxley's intro over the course of her career. And though it doesn't obviously do her entire career in WWE the service that it should, it did walk me through the evolution of that character. Mm-hmm. And it was very interesting to see the evolution of that character. Her theme music makes way more sense for her character in the latter half of her WWE career than it did in the beginning. Because it didn't make a lot of sense in the beginning. I didn't get it. But it makes more sense on the latter half of her career. And boy, has her character changed.
Oh, yeah. It was pretty bland at first.
It was pretty bland. But, I mean, her run with Gigi Dolan changed that character.
Yes.
And for the better. And, and then she did her stint with Sean Spears' faction, the Culling.
The Culling, yeah. There you go.
Which, by the way, the faction looks stupid as shit. But I think for what it's worth, I think that it did a lot for putting Tatum Paxley front and center of that faction and allowed her to become the character that she is now. And it's a very fun character. So, I kudos to WWE and NXT for allowing groups to try things out. And I would love to think that a performer like Sean Spears loves what they're doing in NXT, which is helping to evolve the next crop of talent and not still trying to be the talent, because it contextually makes me a lot happier with what I saw. Because looking at it from that perspective, where it's like, hey, I want to be the veteran who helps people build stories through pro wrestling and factions and alliances and coordinating with these people to help bring up this next crop. Cool. In that sense, the culling does exactly what the culling was supposed to do, right? Which was elevate new talent. If, however, the proposition is, I, Sean Spears, want to be a star. Here's my idea. Now that I'm back in NXT, the culling failed. And I'm glad that we got somebody like Tatum Paxley coming out of it. But that's neither here nor there, because we're not talking about Sean Spears, we're talking about Tatum Paxley. And I think that she's doing a bang up job with what they've given her so far. And I'm looking forward to seeing what they do next with her.
Mm-hmm. We've got 2 title changes to talk about on SmackDown.
Let's talk about it.
And I will say, you thought Haku was there to, quote, land the plane, and the plane landed, and my boys are stepping off draped in gold, my man.
They are. They are draped in gold in one of, if not the most irrelevant divisions in all of WWE.
That's okay.
Listen, you got that gold, so listen, as long as you got that gold, you still got a job. So
exactly, they're not gonna fire an active champion.
No,
they got at least one. They got at least one more before they get fired.
Oh yeah, they got it. Listen, they got at least. I think they have at least 2 PLEs.
But I think this is where Shinsuke is going to get involved. So
for sure. I mean, listen, if WWE is smart, absolutely, this is where Shinsuke gets involved.
So do we think, does Shinsuke have a tag partner?
Absolutely.
That we are going to start?
Absolutely.
Here.
And I think we talked about it last week.
Yeah. I mean, again, I enjoy this. I think this is a good little bit of, because I mean, obviously without Solo, the MFTs are leaderless, maybe a little rudderless, because Solo is a big personality. Even when they weren't doing as much, like, his personality was the focus of pretty much all their stories. So they needed something. And I think bringing Haku in, even if it's just kind of nostalgia bait, I enjoy it. I've been enjoying it, at least. I don't know how it's landed for anyone else, but I like him being on my TV screen and his weird, slightly too big cane thing he's walking around with. And I don't know what that is.
That's the best part of his character right now. It's the walking stick.
Yeah, but we got Tama and Tala out there hanging out with their uncle, so I enjoy it.
Listen, I think I said this last week. Go ahead.
Am I wrong? Is he their uncle, but he's kind of like their adopted father?
I have no clue.
Okay.
All I know is the only thing that is keeping me from feeling like what I felt last week, that this is another AOP Paul Ellering thing, is the fact that Tama Tonga and Tala Tonga are way better than AOP. And Tama Tonga...
Yeah, I confirmed that he is their uncle, but he is their adopted father.
Okay.
Tama and Tala.
I think that Tama Tonga and Tala Tonga are better characters overall than AOP. And I need WWE, please, I know you watch this podcast, I need for MFT at some point to interact with Bloodline 3.0, because I just need a conversation to happen between Roman Reigns and Haku.
That is not to derail this, but the greatest miss ever was, remember during Roman's first Bloodline run, it's been so long now I forget what it was called, but it was going to be called like the Bloodline like acknowledgement ceremony or something, and they sold it as Roman was going to have like, all the family and all the people come in and like acknowledge him,
sure,
and anoint him as tribal chief, and then they canceled that segment. We never heard of it again.
Yeah.
I still would have loved to have seen that.
Well,
Seeing like
listen,
all the Samoans from the past come in and acknowledge Roman.
I doubt we're going to get that. But what I
No.
need is for Haku and Roman to interact, because Haku currently is the only person that would sit in a position that one would consider legitimately as elder to have a conversation with Roman. And I would love for there to be some sort of insinuation, or not insinuation. I would love for there to be some sort of insight as to how the elders actually see Roman. Like, I'm still of the mindset, Skeena, that Roman is going to drop that title. I still think he's going to drop that title. When and where he drops it, not sure.
Obafemi, Riyadh, Saudi Arabia.
I know we keep saying that.
WrestleMania 43.
I know we keep saying that. And I'm not saying that I don't think that that's going to happen. But I also think that there is a possibility that Roman could interimly drop that title in between, pick it back up.
This is like where Lex Luger won the title for 2 weeks when we were full speed ahead for Hogan and Sting, right?
I think
they did a big celebration.
I think if it serves to tell the story, if it serves to tell a story, then yeah, do it, right? Because I think, this is my personal opinion, I think him losing to LA Knight would serve to tell a far better story than if he just beats LA Knight. LA Knight could hold that title for a couple weeks, Lex Luger style, right? And then Roman challenges him again. Whatever happens, whatever happens. I'm not trying to predict or tell the full totality of the story, but whatever happens, Roman gets the title back. And he holds that title until WrestleMania when he gets challenged by Oba. But I think that there has to be some sort of payoff here. You cannot continue. Listen, let's jump over to Raw real quick, because we're jumping around. We ain't playing things on the straight. So Solo Sikoa loses last week to his brother Jay. Jay and Jimmy, by the way, excellent character work, hamming the whole night up.
That was,
about how awesome it's going to be to deliver Solo.
Getting him back with the pew pew.
Oh, they were just taunting him the whole time.
Got a machine gun.
It was so awesome to watch him just gloat.
Yes.
So heavy over him. And
probably was out there trying to make their brother laugh.
Oh, listen.
Which is what they were doing.
It made me laugh. It made me laugh. I was weak. That was hilarious.
Excellent. Yeah, they were great the whole night.
They were incredible the whole night.
Say this. Everything that happened involving the Bloodline and Solo and LA Knight, at least for me, was some of the best professional wrestling we've got in a long time.
Agreed.
And there was like one wrestling move involved.
Agreed.
But the story that got told, and for every character, the way things developed in that is just was awesome. Like I love that, like you said, throughout the night, and then we'll get to the ending of the show. But you're talking about LA Knight winning the title. Is this LA Knight's story, or is this Solo Sikoa's story?
I think there's multiple stories being told here.
Okay.
I think there's multiple stories being told here. But honestly, bro, that is, in my opinion, the best way to tell pro wrestling stories. You need to have multiple layers, multiple gears moving at the same time, so that the machine doesn't start feeling stale, right? That's why the Roman Reigns story during his original run was so great, I remember saying on this podcast, you and I were having a conversation, and we were talking prior to Roman. No, this was right after. No, wait. Roman had already lost the title. We were talking about the Bloodline story, and I mentioned that everybody at some point was always saying, oh, this is the point where such and such wins the championship. And then when Cody came into the picture, it was finish a story. And the narrative was around Cody finishing this story, the story that his father started, that his father never got to accomplish, and Cody coming back after being the rejected son, the rejected star, coming back and completing and finishing his story. And I said, this story was never Cody's story. It was Roman's story. It was the story of Roman Reigns. There were a bunch of other stories that were moving in between this story. Everybody else who was challenging for the title, it was Jay being subjugated, right? And then falling in line and then stepping out of that space and becoming his own wrestler. It was Sami Zayn needing family and belonging and finding it only to realize that he was a patsy and then deciding to stand on his own and step out of that shadow. Like, there were so many stories that were told here, including Solo's story, that was all told within the confines of Roman's overall story. That title change at WrestleMania 40 was just as much Cody's coronation as the new guy as it was the closing of a chapter in Roman's overall story. And I think that's what makes the story great, because it has multiple moving parts. So if I'm looking at this now, I'm looking at this as, yeah, we're telling multiple stories within stories here. I think we're still in this Roman Reigns story because he's still the focal point of this, right? But you've got Solo being delivered back to the bloodline only to continue to rebel because Solo has turned into the enforcer, turned the only person who truly wants their freedom from the bloodline, right? You've got Jacob's subjugation story. Is he going to follow Solo's path and step out of something that he already clearly does not actually really want to do, right? Is LA Knight going to be able to solidify this coalition that he's been trying to bring together and finally defeat Roman Reigns and you know, for lack of a better term, rid himself of this monkey that's been on his back, which has been able to exercise the threat of the bloodline from his own existence. I think Roman's overall story that's being told is the same one that I stated a couple of weeks ago. Now, I think the outcome obviously was wrong. He didn't lose to Seth. But I think that the story that's being told is still the same. It is the fall of Roman Reigns. And what does it look like to see the heroes fall?
Well, I think you hit on last week or the week before, whenever, it doesn't really matter. That one thing you did hit on, and I will give you credit, is he making these missteps? I think we saw it was not, it was very overt and ham-fisted how they showed you that he maybe made a misstep when he anointed, or what did he call Jimmy and Jay? But they got their own the captains. Yeah, they got their black Ulafalas. And yeah, they very clearly honed in on how Jacob was not happy that happened.
No.
That he recognized Jimmy and punk ass Jay.
Yep.
Who even in the back before this goaded Jacob and said, "Oh, who's the punk ass now? Because I'm delivering Solo to Roman like he asked when you couldn't."
Yeah.
And then, yeah, so Roman anoints them his captains. Jacob is quite unhappy with that. Jacob gets involved, starts beating up LA Knight. Roman calls him off, tells him, "I told you this," kind of scolds Jacob. Jacob goes back into the corner. And then, I mean, you know, if you're listening to this, you probably know what happened, so we don't need to stick to recapping it. So then later, when the tables have turned and Roman's getting beat down, Jacob does the thing like a scolded dog would, or someone just very indignantly watches and says, "Okay, you told me not to get involved. I'll just stand here then while you get your ass beat."
Yep.
Tribal chief. So yeah, where that plays out, how Roman reacts to that, all leading from what you called it, a misstep possibly by Roman in acknowledging Jay and Jimmy and not Jacob, and how that plays out. You got that going on. You got Solo doing the old fake out. He walks back in and is in the old Solo get up. Tribal chief's inspecting it, shouts out his watch. In the end, he eats the spike from Solo though. So we got development with Jimmy and Jay. We've got them being elevated back to, you know, trusted captain status by Roman. We got Jimmy and Jay beefing with Jacob. We got Jacob beefing with Roman. We got Solo standing up to Roman and the rest of his family in a very overt way and defying them. We got Solo solidifying his alliance with LA Knight. We got LA Knight getting one over on Roman. You're right. There are so many things that happened here in one segment that echoes when the Bloodline story was at its best, when you can put all these characters and they all have history with each other that they can play off
Yep.
of, and that it's all confined in this one big story. And yeah, I thought it was absolutely great. I mean, I know I read a couple weeks ago where Dave Meltzer told us Solo Sikoa wasn't a good baby face, wasn't working as a baby face.
Yeah.
But so somehow this little guy he overcame that. So
Yeah.
good for him. Yeah, I mean, people are as behind Solo as I've seen in a while in just an organic babyface role. So
Oh,
it's
agreed.
been awesome. It really has.
It has. And Solo's been doing some of his best work. And I don't know if it's his best work because he's actually putting forth his best work or if it's his best work perception wise because the fans are just behind him right
Little
now.
of both. I think obviously he's getting way better,
Yeah.
but he's able to show what we've always known is that personality.
Oh, yeah.
The dude is probably he's just legitimately funny.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
fun to watch, and he's got a great personality. And now he can show that in a babyface way and not a heel way. Even though when he showed his heel way, it was still great.
Well, and we stated last week, too, that Solo apparently is enjoying this version of this character, that he's just able to have fun and be himself, or at least show more of himself than he normally did. And so you can tell because the character work is good.
Oh, you can tell he is the little brother of the family. For sure. For sure. It just had to have this personality.
Oh, yeah. And listen, this is such a great story. There's so many moving parts. I think Roman is going to probably drop that title before WrestleMania. He'll get it back. I think it'll serve the story.
I can see it.
I think
I
LA.
can see it. I'm not going to bet on it, but I can see it.
Listen, LA Knight should be the one I think to do it. Give that man a legitimate stamp of approval. But listen, Roman ain't out the water because Roman has got to defend that championship against the winner of this AAA Lucha Libre tournament, which kudos to WWE for putting these matches on freaking Raw, right?
Mhm.
Kudos to putting them on Raw because I watched all of Raw. And when Rey Fenix and El Fiscal came onto my screen, first of all, the AAA fan in me was very happy to see El Fiscal on Raw, right? First time. I also remember thinking to myself, I hope that they put on a really great match so that the fans can appreciate Lucha Libre AAA. Because these characters are an acquired taste, okay? They are an acquired taste. I love the campiness of AAA. I think I love the over-the-top characters. I love the costumes. There's a part of me that's a comic book fan that loves how comic book these characters are. And I also recognize, Skeeter, that that's not everybody's bag. And so I saw El Fiscal versus Rey Fenix on my screen, and I'm like, I'm going to love this match. I hope that the fans love this match. And they seem to enjoy it. They seem to enjoy this match. I love the fact that El Fiscal seemed to sway some of the fans that night in the idea that a man his size can move the way he does. But it's a different kind of wrestling, people. And these people are trained differently. And so you get a really different style of wrestling that's just south of the border. If you do not watch AAA, do yourself a favor. It's on YouTube. It's on WWE's YouTube channel. It's on the live section. Every episode of Lucha Libre AAA is up there. Please do yourself a favor. Watch some of these wrestlers before they show up on Raw because it makes so much more of an impact to realize the fact that some of these people would have never been able to wrestle on this large of a stage if WWE was not involved. And for them to be able to wrestle in the States and on a stage this big, it's genuinely momentous for a lot of these wrestlers. And to see them do what it is that they do, and some of them, like El Fiscal, he has not been wrestling that long.
Has he not? I do not.
He has not been wrestling that long. I believe they said in commentary that he's been wrestling like just under like 3 years.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's like to be on Raw, even just once, dude, that's incredible. And you know what it reminds me of too, Skeen, or something that WWE doesn't do anymore? WWE, when it used to move around the country and it used to do Raw, you used to have talent that would come out that was part of WWE, and they would wrestle somebody who was local, and they would wrestle someone who's local that you've never seen before, you may never see again. But I remember thinking to myself, even though some of these wrestlers from the local scene were not WWE caliber, the fact that they were on Raw, you know what I'm saying, once in their career, if you never made it past where you were and you could hang your hat on the fact that there was this one time I wrestled on Raw. Dude, as a wrestler, I can imagine that is something that would be the highlight of your career. And WWE doesn't do that anymore. And so for them to do things like this, where you get an El Fiscal who gets to be on Raw, or Dr. Wagner Jr., which, by the way, shout out to Corey Graves, because, man, you pulled all the slack for one Michael Cole, who you can clearly tell, A, does not watch AAA, B, has never really done any type of broadcasting for AAA, because this man seemed like it was perplexing his mind, Skeener, to say El Hijo de Dr. Wagner Jr. And
definitely not used to such naming conventions.
No, I swear this dude just defaulted to calling him Dr. Wagner, which, dude, that's 3 generations removed. Like, you're talking about his granddad. But, you know, he doesn't understand it. And I remember one time he tried to enunciate this, and it sounded like he was trying to pronounce French. And I'm just like, dude, just leave it to Corey. And that's what, and listen, if there's one thing that kind of, I didn't get legitimately pissed off, but part of me was just like, come on, man. Listen, I know Michael Cole is the lead commentator on Raw, but when you've got AAA wrestlers up here and you've got the voice of AAA in Corey Graves sitting right next to you, I'm not saying you got to switch roles, but let Corey be the lead in the dance. You know what I'm saying? Let Corey be the lead in the dance, follow him closely, but Michael Cole has to be the lead voice. And so you keep like misnaming moves. You know what I'm saying? You're calling wrestlers by things that are not their names because you can't process the actual name of the wrestler. Like, just fall back. It makes you show your age more than you do sometimes. And you've got a source right there next to you. I am fully on board with the idea of utilizing the resources that you've got. You know what I'm saying? And if you got Corey Graves sitting right there, use him. Use him to the fullest extent that is permitted. But, like, don't make a fool of yourself, because that's what Michael Cole did. Made a fool of himself. Stop trying to say things you don't understand. Let Corey Graves do it. So let's see.
I mean, we still think it's going to be Penta, correct?
I certainly think it's going to be Penta versus Rey Fenix. I think you're going to get that. And yeah, I think Penta is probably going to win that, which is going to put Penta versus Roman in Mexico City. I think that's going to bring the house down on Raw in Mexico City.
That'll be a hot crowd.
I mean, you're talking about Roman Reigns, and you're talking about the most popular luchador in Mexico, right? In Penta. It's going to be an incredible match. Does Penta win that match? No. But it's fun to imagine that he might, even though he won't. But yeah, it's going to be Penta versus Roman for sure. And that crowd's going to freaking go ballistic when Roman's music hits, for sure. Now, I led off on the top of the show with this. Sol Ruca defeats Lyra Valkyria. Let me be perfectly clear with everybody listening. I don't know if this is something that is teachable. I'm inclined to believe it's not. But if it is, I need someone to build a curriculum around whatever Lyra picked up in her feud with Becky Lynch. Teach it, hand out certifications and undergraduate degrees to whoever accomplishes the feat of graduating that class. Because Lyra Valkyria, to me, is doing some of the best character work on the entire roster. I mean, you can disagree with me if you like, and that's fine. But I mean, a loss here to Sol Ruca does absolutely nothing to Lyra. She is so airtight with this character, and the character is built off such nuance, not big stuff. And to do the small nuance aspects of character work as well as she's doing them right now, kudos to Lyra. She is quickly becoming one of my favorites. Skeener?
Yeah. No, I'm right there with you. I think it was either last week or the week before I said it. Like, this character is awesome. I was skeptical at first when she came out in the in the crackhead looking strung out.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, it's been awesome. It's been what she's needed, like just such a radical shift from what we, talked about was a little bland at first. And it's been great. And they had a heck of a match. And yeah, but for sure, I think Lyra has been as big of a star as she has ever been with this character.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And listen, that's taking zero away from Sol Ruka. I love Sol Ruka too. And kudos to WWE for managing the talent that they have as best they can. Listen, sometimes you can't do anything with the Ilya Dragunov. I know this sounds like Ilya Dragunov hate, and it's not. I'm just trying to be honest. Like sometimes you work with what you can, we work what you got, and it's just not the right fit. It's just not the right fit. Maybe Ilya is a better fit somewhere else. But when you have talent that works and you utilize it well, hats off. They're utilizing Lyra very well. And I think Sol Ruka, they're doing such a good job, in my opinion, of highlighting what she's very good at, both in the ring and on the microphone, and allowing those things to shine as bright as possible. Because I looked at some of the early Sol Ruka stuff when she first came into the main roster, and it's like there was a very high potential to position Sol Ruka very badly, to emphasize certain aspects of character work that she may not be the strongest in and totally mess that character up. But they did not do that because there's something that you can latch onto with the character outside of her ring ability and her acrobatics. There is an element to her character that is uniquely her, and she knows it well. And you allow her to lean into that, and what she's leaning into works. I think they did the same thing with Ilya. They allowed Ilya to lean into what he felt like worked for his character, and it just did not work. And I think that's the difference between these two characters. I think that I firmly disagree with the person in that YouTube video that was stating, how do you have such talent like an Ilya Dragunov and just don't use him? They absolutely used him. And I think they put him in a position to show what it is that he could do. They put a strap around his waist, and you just did not, to quote NXT PLEs, stand and deliver. You just didn't do it. And at a certain point, there's got to be some onus that's put on the talent. You put Lyra in these positions, and she's showing up. You put Sol Ruka in these positions, and she's showing up. So, I mean, where do you draw the line between the expectation of what writing is supposed to do, what the company is supposed to do, versus what a wrestler is supposed to do to bring their end of the bargain to the table? You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Yeah. But yeah, Lyra has been awesome, and I will continue to highlight that. And she's been one of my favorite parts overall for sure.
Now, and listen, to power through this next segment, there was no way that Rey Mysterio was going to beat Chad Gable. Not after they put so much into putting Chad over at SummerSlam, but damn if the crowd didn't want Rey to win. I mean,
is that a good thing? Is that a good thing that they wanted him to beat Chad Gable? This is already what I feared with Chad Gable.
Okay.
Is that he's just beating everyone he got his theme song, and he's beating everyone. Like, what is this? I get it. He is good in the ring. And I could very easily be the one that's missing the boat on that. Wouldn't be the first time, won't be the last. But like, why am I excited about Chad Gable? Why am I supposed to be excited about this Chad Gable? Like, he's beating all the guys he was a dick to. This all started because he was a dick to Rey Mysterio. Now he comes out here and beats him. No one was under the impression he was going to lose. We knew he was going to win, and they were going to do the respect. Let me raise your hand. You're the guy. It just doesn't do it for me. Like, I get it, but you're right. Like, yeah, the crowd really wanted Ray to win, and don't get me wrong. Like, it was a great match. I'm sure there live it was even better, but like for me, when it was so far and away, you could see from a million miles away what they were doing. They were going to go out there, have a great match. Gable was going to win. Mysterio was going to raise his hand at the end. I don't know. It just doesn't do it for me. What am I missing here, if anything?
If anything, brother, I think the one thing that you're missing is recognizing, because I know you know it, but recognizing the spectacle of professional wrestling.
Okay.
So I don't think anybody in that crowd thought that Ray was going to win, even if they wanted him to. I don't think they wanted him to win because they wanted Gable to not have the championship. They wanted Ray to win because the story that was being told was to make you believe that there was a chance. The story was told to invoke that belief. When the story is told well, people will play their part. And I don't think they just played their part.
I didn't want Gable to have the championship.
Fair. And I'm sure there are some people that are like that, right? But they're going to be disappointed because if you understand the tea leaves, like you also knew, you knew that Ray wasn't going to win. But see, and here's the ironic part about it, right? You inadvertently still played the part. You still played the part of being behind Ray, right? Being in the match, wanting Ray to win, knowing he wasn't going to win. The result is what matters. And if you can evoke that in someone by hook or by crook, that is the trappings of telling a good story.
And well, they fucking crooked me. I don't even know what that means, but that feels like the appropriate. That's what it felt like.
Did you ever think he was going to win?
No. I don't know. I don't feel that strongly about it, but I think that's my issue is I don't feel strongly at all about the Chad Gable stuff. And while it's being tried to, while WWE is trying to sell this to me as this triumphant, he finally did it tour, I just don't care that much.
I'll be honest with you.
Because I think he was 100% more interesting as El Grande Americano.
I'll be honest with you. I don't think that they're trying to sell this He Did It tour.
He's got music.
He had that music before he won.
Gable.
He had that music before he won.
But at that point, he had won. I know he hadn't on paper, but he had won.
That was the story they were telling. Sure. And here's the thing. We're still talking about the Intercontinental Championship in World Wrestling Entertainment in the year of our Lord 2026. They don't actually give a shit about that title.
It's fair.
So, like let's keep it in context here, right? They don't actually give a shit about the title or who's holding it. The superstars in WWE are far more important and valuable than the titles that they hold, right? They are. Roman Reigns is more important than the World Heavyweight Championship, right? Back in the day, that was a different story, right? You had certain superstars that transcended the title, but for other superstars, the title was the aspiration. You got there and you were the title holder of the World Heavyweight Championship or the WWE Championship. But ever since the freaking Attitude Era, right? The superstar has been the marquee. The title just shows what story they're trying to tell at what level of the show, right? The IC title has been tantamount to the US title in every conceivable way, besides who holds what title at any given time. That's the reason why the story arc is always around a big superstar winning that title and trying to bring prestige back to it. This is the workhorse. Because you got to add something to it. Because WWE is not adding its own oomph to it. It's just a title. They got to display it. They got to have it. These things no longer display ranking, and they no longer display comparability amongst the tiers of wrestlers. We never going to get a Hulk Hogan versus Ultimate Warrior again. You feel me?
You don't think we got Chad Gable, Roman Reigns coming up?
Fuck no. Hell no. We're never going to get that again. And honestly, Skeener, I miss those days. I miss the days when Ultimate Warrior and Hulk Hogan went head to head, right? To see who was the better wrestler in the ring. Now, listen, looking back at things in 2026, neither one of those guys were virtuosos in the ring. But at the time, they were
good at the job, though.
They were good at the job. They were good at the job. And those titles signified how WWE saw those talent. Right. And so you put Hulk Hogan as the World Heavyweight Champion or the WWF.
It's no longer the next up title.
It's not.
Because we have Money in the Bank.
Money in the Bank.
And you're right. It began to not be that way during the Attitude Era for sure. But it's now definitely it's changed. And you're right. It is.
Yeah. It's just not the same anymore. And so to me, go ahead.
By the time Christmas, happens, what I want sitting under my tree is Intercontinental Champion Dominic Mysterio.
Again.
That's all I want. Yes.
Nah.
I think that's better than what we're getting.
I'd rather have Dominic moving on to bigger and better things. He deserves better. He deserves more.
I agree, but I deserve better.
You do.
Than Gage.
And listen, and I think what you deserve better is some new, fresh faces into Intercontinental Championship scene.
Here's what I'll make a promise. I will try to fight my instinct and not immediately roll my eyes during whatever Chad Gable does next Monday. I'm gonna commit to myself in front of the world that I will give this a fair shake.
Now let me ask you a serious question.
Yeah.
Why?
Because I don't like not enjoying things. That's like always been my thing with like any media for the most part. Ooh, I know the segue that's going to happen at the end of this, and that's great. But I like to categorize myself as an enjoyer of things. Like the things that people generally like, oh, that's stupid. I don't like that. I'm like, man, it's hard enough just being alive out there. Like, let's just enjoy the things.
Sure.
And so I'm being a little bit of a hater, and I'm going to try to enjoy this the way other people seem to enjoy this.
Okay.
Now, speaking of giving things a fair chance.
Okay.
I just sent you a link.
Okay.
And I'm going to want you to play this. I don't know if you can play it for our listeners or if it's going to be dead air you're going to have to cut out in a bit. But I sent you a link, and I want you to start at 1:30 and just give the next minute a fresh, fair chance.
Absolutely not. The fact that you interjected my freaking, and the fact that you have interjected this slop into my algorithm, I will never forgive you for it.
You have to hear this.
Dude.
You have to hear this. Everson is about to hear verse 3 on the track Click Clack off Pat McAfee's critically panned debut album, The Diary of a Polarizing Figure.
So here's what I'm finna do.
It has something that some might categorize as bars.
Hold on. Let me just state this very clearly first, okay? First of all, Skeena, you are a dear friend to me. I love you, brother.
This is episodic storytelling.
But I will never forgive you for tainting my algorithm with this shit. That's one. Two, I will not be playing the audio over this podcast because out of respect for the listeners who tune in each and every week, I am not going to subject you to the shit I'm about to hear. Three, I am certainly not playing any of this over the YouTubes so that we can get copyright struck for some bullshit.
Fair. Is this fair use?
Hell no, it's not.
We're reviewing this. We're providing critical commentary. We're adding value.
Oh no, I'm about to play.
Reacting to this.
I'm about to play a small segment of this. What second did you say?
I say go to 1:30.
Okay, 1:30.
Pat knows. So his album, despite it being a lot of tracks, he kept it at like 40 some minutes, which good for him because he knows that after about 44 minutes on modern vinyl, you kind of lose some sound quality. So out of respect for the people that picked up Pat's album on vinyl, he kept it short. Are you hearing it right now?
I'm listening to it right now.
Okay. I need this third verse he comes in with. Oh, I can't wait. I'm just going to watch your face.
Here's what I'm going to say. My hope, if I'm trying to be completely objective here, my hope is that none of this was done seriously.
Oh, he is serious as a heart attack, my brother.
Like, I hope this is like a gag.
That's the shitty part, is that it's not.
Like, I hope this is a gag. Like, he's doing this as a play on music.
Nope, absolutely not. I'm just gonna, for our listeners that won't hear it, verse 3 of the track Click Clack. I believe everyone needs to hear it.
No, you don't.
Because Pat will tell you, I guess I'm an anomaly. My mom birthed a monopoly. It feels like there's no stopping. See, you want to fight, we'll drop 'em. And how he enunciates this next line is just legendary. See, I guess I can agree that I'm dynamical. I silenced all the sheep like Hannibal. If that doesn't touch you, touch your soul in a certain way.
In an inappropriate way.
Ooh.
That touch your soul in an inappropriate way. That is very, much bad touch. Okay.
It's some of the so I did as a joke listen to a few songs, and it is like it's exactly what you think it would be. It's just slop and bad, and like you said, you like if it would bring faith, it would bring some faith in humanity back if it was like a joke, but it's not.
If he made this just for fun, right?
I mean, it's obviously for fun because,
Well,
like we
sure,
talked
but
about
he
last
put it
week,
out for
it's like,
sale. It's legitimately as music. Like if you had just made some tracks and then threw them on YouTube,
right.
like that's what I mean by for fun.
That's how you know it's serious. That's how you know it's not. It's serious.
I know. I'm
Like
I'm
this,
just trying to listen. This does not bother me as much as some may think it does because I genuinely truly don't give a shit. Like I don't. And that's one of the things, right? I've never understood people who say like, "Oh, I don't care," but then they get fucking furious about things or they get in like high emotions about things. That means you care enough to have those high emotions. If you really didn't care, it wouldn't bother you. I don't care. It doesn't bother me. I think what bothers me is Pat McAfee. I think he bothers me. And the fact that there is just unfettered slop out there because you get so high up on the totem pole that the air gets so thin that actual
that's what I
human
was saying
beings
last
can't
week.
breathe. And the only people that live up there are the trolls that yes man everything you do. And
Yeah, that's what I was saying last week.
Yeah.
Like it was bad.
This reeks, Skeener. This reeks, Skeener, of a studio full of people who Pat paid for all their weed. And you know what I'm saying? And it's like they're just in
exactly
there and he's recording this and people are just like, yeah, that's fucking hot, bro.
That's fire, bro.
That's fire, bro.
That's exactly what they did.
That's fire,
and don't
bro.
worry. My so it came out last Friday, and I jokingly sent this text to my buddy James, that's a big wrestling fan too, and I sent a picture of like my car play at a stoplight, and like the first track playing, and and the response I got was from his text, "You have to turn that off. If you crash and die, people won't know the truth. Your family might think it would be a nice gesture to play it at your viewing so you can hear the rest of it since you're a big WVU guy. This might be the worst decision of your life."
Yeah.
And that's true. What if that was the last thing I listened to and people thought like I was bumping the new Pat?
I would hate to
That's that new Pat.
I would hate to be you. I would hate to be you at the gates because you'd get questioned about this.
Bumping that new Pat.
You'd be questioned about that when you got there. It's like you were listening to what?
Well, we had to close the loop because we brought up the album last week, and now you have heard a minute of it, and just know that there are 43 to 45 more minutes of that out there if you want it.
That I will never hear. I'm about to close the loop on this show. With the last thing we need to talk about, which is the Judgment Day attack, La Primera.
Mm-hmm.
And
Becky calls her stupid because she was stupid going out there by herself.
She was. And listen, that feud between Becky and Liv and Stephanie Vaquer, I think is going to be fine. You got Becky Lynch in there. You got Liv in there. You've got Stephanie in there. It's going to be fine. My only criticism to this whole segment on Raw, Skeener, and I want to know your genuine thoughts here. What I want you to know your thoughts on this. I'm about to ask you.
Yeah. Okay.
What in the blue hell is WWE doing with Raquel? Why do you put her in the position to win the Women's Intercontinental Championship? And then you immediately cool her by not having her, A, bring her title to the ring, B...
Did she not? I didn't notice that.
I don't think in this segment on Monday she brought the title to the ring. The first time she brings it out, right, she's not competing. She's got barbed wire wrapped around it, which was a fail. Then she comes out with the barbed wire not around it. She's also not competing. She's also not even the focal point of the segment. She's your new IC champion, and she's not been the focal point of a single segment since she won the title, right? And then this last go around, she doesn't even bring the title into the ring. I think she brought it out there with her, but when the jumping happened, the title never makes it in the ring. It gets dropped on the outside like a coat before you start a match. I listen, give her the moment, sure, but damn it, WWE. If you're going to do these things with people, right? Give them the opportunity to fucking wrestle with the shit. If there's only one thing I could ever say positively about the US Open Challenge, is that at least when somebody won the belt, the next time you saw them with that belt, they were wrestling with the motherfucker. But I don't get WWE in these choices sometimes. And I feel like people are behind Raquel as much as they can be because WWE puts a hard ceiling on how they are going to allow people to rise with her. But your thoughts?
I agree with you. I think there's sometimes they've got an embarrassment of riches and they get themselves in these situations where like you have stars that are ready to ascend and break out and the people want to see, but it doesn't fit what they're doing. And then not saying this is right, like just don't have it in the plans or have room to showcase that where there should be. Like, you're right. Since Raquel has won the title, Liv congratulated her and did a little bit in the segment, but it hasn't been a focal point at all.
Nope.
And you would think there would be something to do with that, but yeah, hasn't been much, and it has kind of been disappointing.
Yeah.
Especially because that could serve as some point of either contention or constant bragging as a show of dominance for the Judgment Day. Yeah. It doesn't have to break them up, but they can be like, hey, look, we got all the gold.
Yeah.
And then even if we're not, like, why can't we just do like, hey, we've got all the gold here. Raquel, Roxanne, why don't you go try to win the tag titles? And then we'll have even more gold. But yeah, I don't get it either, man. I don't have any answers for you. My thoughts are the same. It's kind of like, yeah, it's a bit disappointing. I don't know why.
Yeah.
They seem to sometimes not have a lot of room for these secondary women's titles that were a good thought when they created them, but if they're not going to use them, what are they doing?
Agreed.
Granted, we did get a big, but is the same thing going to happen with the SmackDown women's title? That we made a giant deal in the last match of the show that Jacy Jayne beats Tiffany Stratton, and I think that's just in order to say, oh look, Fatal Influence has all the gold. I don't think it's going to be about the title at all, but
I think Jacy Jayne is going to compete with that title.
Probably.
Quite a bit.
I hope, but we'll see. I mean, we've seen sometimes the secondary women's titles always are either, I feel like they're never even in the background. They're either very prominent as part of the show or they just don't exist at all.
Yeah.
There's never like what we're talking about with Gable, where like it's there, but for some of us it's just a segment. It's either a big Becky Lynch feud and it's a huge deal, or it's nothing. Or it doesn't exist at all. Like you said, the belt not even being prominent or mentioned.
Yeah. I think Jacy Jayne will compete with that belt. I think Fatal Influence has been pretty active on the roster since they've, been up here, whether they had the titles or they didn't have the titles. And I think that there was a prime opportunity for WWE to let Jacy Jayne fall off the radar. I genuinely think that there was, in the midst of the feud with the Bellas, right? I think there was a prime opportunity to let Jacy Jayne fall between the cracks, because there were a couple weeks where she didn't wrestle, right? And it was just Fallon Henley and Laney Reed wrestling, right? And then you had some weeks where it was just one of the other two wrestling, and Jacy was not wrestling. But you took the first opportunity that you had to put Jacy Jayne back into the spotlight and to accomplish what their goals were. If anything, Fatal Influence is one of the factions in recent memory that said they were going to do something and came in and freaking did it. You know what I mean? Like, they said they were going to come in and they were going to run the women's division. And it's like, I'm not saying you or I, but someone could say, oh, well, running the women's division is holding the top title. I disagree. I think running a division is holding the most viable spots in the division. I think it's a question of occupancy space and less about the title that you hold, right? If you're one person and you hold the top title, everybody's gunning for your title, you don't own shit. You're just a champion, right? But when you are like the Bloodline was, where Roman had both the Universal Championship and the WWE Championship, and the Usos had both sets of tag team championships, you own the most space, you know what I'm saying, in the room. And so you run the place. There were many times where NWO and WWE, WCW, I mean, did not have the majority of the titles that were on the show, but they occupied all of the space. You know what I'm saying? And that's something that you can only do when you have that.
There was
that
ever a
many
time
members.
they had that many of the titles.
Yeah, you know what I mean? But they owned all the space.
Did they ever win any titles aside?
Hogan
from
had
that?
it. Hogan had
Hogan had the big title, but did they ever?
I don't remember them having
Do you
tag
think they
team.
had the
I
tag
think Hall
titles
and, I
or
think Hall
the
and
US
Nash
or-
might have had the tag titles at one point, but that's it. Like they never like ran the ticket and had all the titles.
Mhm.
But they didn't need to. Even when there was only one title in the midst of all 11 of them, right? They owned enough space on the card to where they ran things. And I think when it comes to the women's division on SmackDown, I think you have JC Jane as the U.S. champion, and you have Fallon Henley and Lainey Reed as the women's tag team champions. Yeah, they hold all the gold except for the one at the top. And, you know what I mean? Like, no, they're running that division right now. And I think that's credibility that's placed on them. I think you've got an asset in Lainey
Speaking
Reed.
of credibility,
yep.
I just looked this up. I was just very wrong. There were lots of times that Kevin Nash and Scott Hall held those tag team titles.
Okay, yeah.
But like you said, like we were saying earlier, the titles weren't the point. It was the idea of them and the prop on the show. But
right.
Yeah, that just killed a lot of my credibility because there were a lot of times in this NWO run they were winning them, losing them, winning them right back all the time.
Oh, listen, brother, there ain't nothing wrong being wrong.
Lost it to the Steiner brothers for 2 days. Lost it to Lex Luger and the Giant for 1 day. It looks like they like to lose it on the pay-per-view and win it back the night after.
Oh, well, because people tune in to see the NWO get their ass kicked, and then you put it back on them so that somebody else can kick their ass later.
That seems to be what happened.
Yeah, that seems like quintessential Eric Bischoff booking. Quintessential Eric Bischoff booking. Love Eric Bischoff. One of the old heads that I do like that is doing like commentary stuff now.
Love me some Eric Bischoff.
Of that cohort that's on the current like social media podcast online social media circuit, he's my favorite. I think all the rest of them fall off the cliff for me. But I don't mind Bischoff. I don't mind Bischoff at all. But listen, you and I got some SmackDown to watch because SmackDown is currently on our television while we are recording this now.
It's happening.
It's happening right now, folks.
Someone is laying the smacketh down.
It's laying the smacketh down on someone's candy ass, and I can't wait to get over there and watch that. So, Skeener, please let everyone know where they can tune in to this awesome podcast that you and I love doing each and every week.
The home of the Lariat Lounge is YouTube. Find us on YouTube. Go there. Search up the Lariat Lounge. That's where you'll find our page, where you'll find all the shows in video and audio format, all the content we do. That's where the PLE live streams are hosted. So be sure to go over there, give us a follow, hit the bell, do the likes, do all the things that all the other people you listen to tell you. Do that for us over on YouTube. The podcast still goes up in audio format every week on all your favorite platforms, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever else you get your shows. That's where you'll find the Lariat Lounge. We've got merch over at Pro Wrestling Tees, ProWrestlingTees.com. Search the Lariat Lounge, 10 great designs up there. Like my co-host, the host, Everson, mentioned earlier, I'm the co-host. He's the host. Like he mentioned earlier, you buy a shirt, you are an executive producer of this show, and we will shout you out. Plus, the shirts are great, so don't just buy it for the clout. Go over there, 10 great shirts to go. You could follow us on Instagram at the Lariat Lounge Podcast. DMs are always open. I'm happy to talk with anyone about wrestling. Give us a follow there so you can know when we're going live for all our PLE live streams and any other live streaming we do. And as always, anything you want to talk about, want us to talk about, want to tell us, want to scream at us, any of that stuff, send it at the Lariat Lounge at gmail.com.
We will absolutely read those emails if I remember to get over there and check them. But you guys interact with us on Instagram. That lets me know that you're alive and that you're listening. And it prompts me to go over there and check Gmail if I'm not checking some other things that's dealing with the business side of things. But I want to hear from you. We want to hear from you. We love interacting with you. And we appreciate you hanging out with us and listening to two wrestling nerds talk about wrestling, because we love to do it. So come back and check us out next week. We'll be talking about all things WWE at the same bat time, same bat channel. Show up, show out. From your host, Everson Godfrey, Andrew Skeens, this has been another edition of the Lariat Lounge. Watch yourself on the way out.